Arena is the best game mode League of Legends ever produced, which is something I do not say lightly. Since the beginning of time, I was advocating for the return of PvE into League of Legends. But now, Riot came up with this. It's something nobody expected, and it's something a lot of people like. And you know why people like this League of Legends game mode? It's because it's not League of Legends. Even though the new 2v2v2v2 game mode, aka Arena, is coming out on the live servers in about 10 days. Those of you who have a PBE account can play it now. The premise of League of Legends is very simple since it is a MOBA. By now, everyone knows how MOBAs behave. This is not a MOBA. I am even hesitant on calling it a game mode. It really feels like a separate game which people really want to be permanent. Remember what happened to TFT? TFT also started as a game mode and here we are. Anyway, throughout the last week, I played quite a few games of this new game mode. And oh boy, is there a lot to like about this one. Even though my fun was diminished a little bit by the 200 ping, but that's totally fine. To put it simply, the new Arena game mode is very simple. From all the playtesting, it seems like this new game mode pulled off 3 massive W's. The games are short, which means about 10 minutes each. It is not just a simple 50-50 coin flip on whether you're gonna win. Now there is only a 25% chance to win, which means that people treat it more like a battle royale. They expect to lose. But mainly, this game mode is focused on wacky fun. Yes, people will try to min-max and people will try hard, but the fun beats it all. Based on the name, it is no surprise that you queue into this game with only one other player. Yes, it is fun to play with friends, but it is also totally fine to play with one other person. Because oftentimes, if you are good enough, you can carry a lot of the games. And even if you queue in with that one person who only ever plays one champion, it's totally fine. It's interesting to see how some teams can counter each other. But in reality, everything is viable. People thought that Juggernauts would dominate this game mode since it always feels like you are playing 2v2s in top lane. But in reality, you can play Glass Cannon DPS. And with the right augments, you can outscale the tanks. Or you can just play pure tanks and with the right augments, you can outscale everyone else. You can play mages, you can play supports, you can play assassins. The only class that is a bit iffy are enchanters. Enchanters are either absolutely worthless or incredibly good. So if you are a support, play Lulu or Janna. But you don't really even have to play these because, as I mentioned, there are augments, which we will talk about a little bit more in a little bit. But these augments also give you supporting abilities. For example, when your ally gets low on health, you can sacrifice some of your health to give them a shield. In this scenario, it is better to play a tank and sacrifice your HP. On the other hand, if there is a class that absolutely dominates this game mode, it is anyone who has turrets. Be it Shaco, Heimerdinger or Zyra, all of these are really good, because eventually the arena shrinks, everyone is forced in the middle, and guess what? Right there in the middle is where all the turrets are. I don't want to say that these champions are OP, you will definitely see people losing with them, but they do have an advantage, so be ready to see these champions banned a lot. Now, because at its core this game mode is kinda supposed to be stupid fun, you will see a lot of League's mechanics either totally removed or heavily simplified. For example, gold. Between the rounds you can buy items, but you can't buy components, you can only ever buy fully completed items. The reason is very simple, this way everyone has nearly perfectly balanced items, as the value is put onto everyone somewhat equally. Also, to a new player, this is amazing because you just buy the recommended items and you don't have to care about anything. Also, really cool addition, there are no runes. If you want some specific runes, well, you can still find them in augments, but you don't set up your runes before the game. This is something you wouldn't really think about, but in reality it is really cool. And also, there are really cool simplifications when it comes to the summoner spells. Normally on Summoner's Rift, Flash has a lot of value. So in order to give it the same value in the Arena game mode, when you use Flash, it will be on cooldown for the next round. So it has a per round cooldown, but it is also on cooldown for one entire fight. Which really makes you try not to waste a flash if you don't need to use it. It's a really tiny thing, but it does a lot for this game mode. Connected to that, your second summoner spell is also really cool. By default, it is a tiny ghost that gives you speed when you are running towards your enemies. This helps with the fact that Riot wants you to fight in the arena. If it was just a ghost that also helps you escape, you would be running circles. However, there are special augments that change your ghost into other spells. And those can, for example, be Ignite and Exhaust in the same summoner spell, or Fiora's old ultimate as a separate summoner spell. There is even one that just gives you Twitch's stealth. Riot went crazy in this area as well. You can't really find a spot in this game mode where Riot didn't go wacky. Especially with those augments that heavily change how you play each game. It doesn't matter what champion you play, because based on the augments you get, suddenly you may be turned into an assassin, a massive tank, or a glass cannon DPS. And to win consistently, you either have to find a really broken build, or you have to adapt to the augments you get. And it seems like the community picked up on the fact that this game mode plays so differently from just normal League of Legends. Which is why, as a heavy boomer myself, I actually got whole new vibes from this game mode. It was the WoW Arena vibes. Yes, I also suffered a bit in WoW Arenas. It feels like if you really wanna try, you can actually put together comps that are really good. And in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if on the internet you can just look up a massive list of all the cool combinations. For example, I really loved it when I played Singed and my partner decided to just pick up Cassiopeia. And she played off of those poisons like crazy. The feeling is actually not too different from the days League of Legends first launched. The days when no one knew what was good and everyone kinda just picked whatever in the duo lanes. You see, originally I thought it would be a good idea if, in the future, this was turned into a 1v1 game mode, where you would have an 8-player free-for-all. But after playing it for a little bit more, I realized there is a lot of good in the fact that it is 2v2. I mean, yeah, supports would be kinda worthless, but you can always balance around that. No, the strengths are actually more around the community. Yes, it is League of Legends, so I'm expecting things to get a bit more toxic over time. But right now, theory crafting teams around 160 different champions with all the possible augments is really cool. And in fact, what's also really awesome is that suddenly people are picking up champions which they would never play on Summoner's Rift. There you still have to play with the rules of dealing with minions, pushing lanes, boring stuff like that. Here, because the game mode is just focused on champion mechanics, you can really just pick up any champion you want and mash buttons if you have no idea what's happening. I always played Bard, Vel'Koz and Swain. Here, I really like Warwick. Now, on the game development side, this game mode also has one more massive strength. It has a heavily modular design. It seems like they can simply add more onto this game. Right now, I believe there are 4 different maps. Well, you can definitely add more in the future. This would also include more hazards. For example, why don't we just plop Baron in the middle of the arena? But also, you can easily tie this into skins. What if we get another wave of project skins and suddenly, for this game mode, you get project arenas? What if there is another round of Spirit Blossom and they reuse Nexus Blitz assets to make new arenas as well? You can even make the augments and the hazards thematic too. Simply said, when it comes to the longevity of this game mode, there is a lot of potential. And I really hope Riot doesn't just drop it. Now there is also one more thing that people either really like or they really don't like. And that's the ranked system. Yes, the arena game mode will have its own rank. So some people immediately thought, yeah, people are gonna try hard. But weirdly, I am fine with this. And there are 2 simple reasons why. First of all, if you want to play this game mode just for fun, just do it. You will stay down there in the Wood Division, no one will care, and you can just play for fun. I'm pretty sure that's what that division is for. Also, this is not too different from what Hyperroll did. TFT has its own game mode called Hyperroll, which was also a casual game mode, and it also had its own ranking system. Just like in Arena, it is way more simplified. It is basically the old MMR system from original League. Back when there were no divisions, no promotions, you just got a number, and that number had a medal. And what's interesting is that this old system really works for casuals as well. All it really does is find other players who are on a similar level to you. Whether you wanna push for the rank and get it higher, that's totally up to you. So if TFT showed us anything, the ranking system they are using for Arena shouldn't be that much of a big deal. And on top of the wacky fun that you are normally getting out of this game mode, it should be really good. So, if there is one quote I want you to take away from all of this, it's that this game mode is so good. If it was released as a separate game, it would be legitimate competition for League of Legends. And again, that's for one simple reason. This League of Legends game mode is not League of Legends. It is not a MOBA anymore. It is an arena battler, just like, as some of you may remember, Battlerite. Unfortunately, Battlerite couldn't hold the players because it didn't really have many side objectives in their own main game mode. That game was basically League of Legends without minions and without objectives. You ran into an arena and spammed your abilities. In comparison, here, on top of the base gameplay which Battlerite also had, Arena gives you the healing flowers and the blast cones, which don't sound like a lot, but they actually heavily vary the gameplay. But they also give you map hazards, such as Lux randomly beaming people, or Seth just walking up to you and punching you in the face. Also, they slowly start to shrink the arena, which I believe Battlerite also had. But most importantly, above all else, the augments are giving this game mode a lot of fun. And they alone give you massive variety between games. Right now, Arena kinda feels like the beginning of TFT. There, the original version was also really good and people really wanted it to be permanent, and so it became permanent. And I know Riot really wants to stick to their Summoner's Rift because it is great for advertising, I guess. But I think it is time. I think it is time we get another game mode that does not play by the MOBA rules. ARAM is fine, but ARAM is a MOBA. Nexus Blitz was amazing, but Nexus Blitz was a MOBA. Ultimate Spellbook or Earth, both excellent. Still, it is just Summoner's Rift. But Arena is different, because Arena is not League of Legends. In fact, it feels better. And even die-hard fans and haters of Summoner's Rift, such as Tyler1, are going for the Gladiator Challenge. So I really hope that Riot does not drop this game mode, because there is a lot of potential. But yeah, all hail TFT, because augments are carrying the f*** out of this game mode.